Good morning, or wherever you're from. Maybe on the other side of the planet. It's evening for you, but it's morning for me at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I've got an old friend. We reconnected when I lived in Asheville, North Carolina. So they say a brother from another mother. So we don't know what we're gonna talk about, but we're just gonna kind of recap and regroup. And we've always had interesting conversations in the past. So let me bring on my old friend Damon Dickenson. Hey.
Good morning, Magic Brad.
How you doing?
Doing good. Waking up
for an
slowly here, but yeah, I got an hour on you, but I'm still working on my morning coffee here.
I always get up early, even when I stay up late. I end up waking at 4, 5, 6 in the morning. It's just a thing that I do, and I think it's because my dad worked construction, so my mom had to get up early to make his lunch. So I was, of course, probably up too. And
I've been awake since 7 and doing prayer, meditation, and doing stuff around the house, and a couple of phone calls, and mapped out my day calendar-wise. But as far as actually awake, I'm still probably about 70% there.
Yeah, I tell Monica because sometimes we're laying there about to go to bed, and I'm like out. So I'm kind of like those. Remember those dolls you used to tip them, and they're up, and their eyes are big, and then they go back and they close.
No, I remember Weebles. They
these things
wouldn't fall down. I don't remember the eyeballs.
The eyeballs were weighted, so that if you laid the doll back, they would close, and you went up, they would open up. And that's kind of how I am. As soon as my back hits the pillow, it's like. And then in the morning, I wake up and I'm ready. Let's go. So, it's fun to reconnect.
It is. It's good to see you. It's been 4 or 5 years since we've actually spoken, since you moved to the Great White North.
I think almost 6, because Monica did a post about when we got here. I think it's been 6 years.
Somewhere around there, between 5 and 6. I believe you're right.
Yeah, so we don't really have a topic. We're just kind of reconnecting, and the people that tune in. And then I haven't shared too much, but this goes on YouTube and then Facebook. And then what I do is I repurpose it and put it out there. So anything you want to pitch or anything you want to say to help people, we can talk about that. But what's been going in my head, because I know you're a sustainable kind of guy. You know, you had that Mercedes that you reworked to work with French fry oil.
Actually, yeah. Wasn't too many French fries. I was collecting most of it from the Mexican places where they fry their chips, but along the same lines, running on waste veggie oil.
It's fascinating to me that there isn't more of that. Well, it isn't really fascinating. To look at corporate, there's no profit in giving somebody free energy, right?
Yeah, I mean they want to tax it. They want to meter it. You know, since Tesla, originally wanted to send electricity through the airwaves, right? And basically all our radio technology was his invention to receive that electricity at the other end and use it. And Rockefeller didn't like that idea, and he partnered up with Edison instead. So they started running it through electrical lines and generating it through different forms of generators and burning coal and gas instead of tapping into the Earth's own electromagnetic field. So, yeah.
And the other stuff like the solar and the wind and the water that's there for us.
Yeah, and a million other ways, really. Like you were mentioning, kinetic energy just from the flow of water going downhill, right? In a pump.
Yep. Exactly. There's a marketing model called the flywheel model rather than the funnel, because you go, on a marketing topic, it goes to the top of the funnel, we get to the bottom, they close the sale, and now you start over again. Whereas the flywheel model, like how Facebook and Amazon are designed, the people keep the flywheel moving.
Right. So
there's ways of doing that, just because energy is abundant. You just got to figure out how to keep the stuff flowing and not stagnant. It's like they just put in those roundabouts around the apartment here.
Yes.
Makes so much more sense than lights that stop and waste gas and people just sit there. Why not just cruise around the circle?
Yes. Yeah, I like circles over squares. The Earth's a big circle, right? Most of the universe travels in circular spiral patterns, and I think that is definitely a more self-sustaining flow of energy for sure.
Yeah, rather than back and forth and back and forth. And there's a friend of mine who wants to get into over-the-road trucking, but he wants to be home every night. And you think, oh, I can't do that because I can't drive to New York and back again. But there are methods of two trucks come together, and then how can I get this? They come together, and then they switch vehicles and go back home.
Mm-hmm.
So there's ways of doing stuff. You just use your brain,
Yeah, just local routes, right? One that's close enough to get to and back and home in one day, for sure.
I was wondering why they don't just tap into all the exercise places with the exercise cycle and people pumping iron and the prisons. If you're going to have them in there working out, why not have them generating electricity?
Yeah, absolutely. Hook up those treadmills, and have them to keep the lights running.
Exactly.
If they want to watch TV, they gotta keep pedaling to keep the TV on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's fascinating. I'm like the house that my brother built. He had these cool tubes in it where he put big pieces of culvert with holes drilled in the bottom, and it went in the north side. It was shady and went underground and dehumidified all the water, condensed it, and then it blew the cool air in the basement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's got his own natural air conditioning coming in just from using the ground and simple airflow.
And you probably could create a weather vane on the roof where the wind would blow the fan and transfer that down to a fan on the bottom that would suck. So you wouldn't even need any electrical energy. It would all be done through the wind and the sun.
Yeah, it's interesting because I really do believe there are potentially infinite, but certainly even in measurable terms, there's probably thousands of different ways to create more cleaner, greener, healthier, sustainable means of energy production and capture than what we currently have, and has been the predominant paradigm for over 100 years. And I think a big piece of that is you have these large monopolies who had the money and resources to build the infrastructure, right? The electrical lines, the railroads, the power generation, and make it really easy and convenient, to hook it up to your house and then charge you a small amount each month to use it. So it was a matter of convenience for one, and then having large resources to put all that infrastructure into place. And because most people, even today, the only way I was able to put, panels on my house, solar panels on my house, is because I was able to get a loan, and then pay that off monthly. Same with my car, to have enough resources to buy a brand new car, a $38,000, $40,000 electric car in one lump sum. There's very few people who can afford to do that outright. And so how do we make these technologies, one, easily affordable in a usable, consistent manner, right? A proven way, and then educate people on how to make that easy and convenient. I think that's starting to happen more and more.
Yeah.
We have new pioneers like Elon Musk and others, for sure. He's probably one of the most well-known that are really making these technologies affordable and at scale, right? In ways that make it cheaper and more affordable and more usable than the current paradigms. I think that's really important.
Another way of looking at it too is I know that I'm pretty sure you're kind of a frugal guy like I am. You don't, frivolously spend money on Nikes and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of, so I kind of put some of the responsibility on the consumer to why are you buying all this stuff when you've got a job that's only paying minimum wage?
Right.
When you could be increasing your own personal value, earning more money some way, and then figure out a way of getting your money to work for itself, and just be a little more frugal. Don't be wasting, funds on other things. Then you can afford that vehicle. Like you're no big millionaire or anything, but you got the vehicle, right?
I do. I'm
How did that happen?
I'm blessed to have a 2015 Leaf. I love it. It's all electric. So I got solar panels on my house that I'm still waiting for the monopoly, Duke Power, to come switch out the meter so I can legally turn it on.
Sure.
And that's been a 3-month wait at this point. But eventually it'll happen. We'll get it there. Might take a couple more phone calls, but we're moving that direction. And I think anyone can make those changes if they're motivated enough. I remember talking to my mentor 20 years ago, kind of rallying about big oil, right? And the trillions of dollars, then wars being waged to keep the price of oil down and make it available. And, the damage that's being done through not being able to make those changes. I remember my mentor going, "So, do you still have a gas powered car? Are you still, buying gas?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." He said, "Then you're supporting that infrastructure.
Right.
What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do different that's going to put your vote, your money in a different direction?" And I
Right.
actually committed to riding my bicycle. And that was here in the hills in Asheville, in mountains. And so before I had my child, my first daughter, I rode my bike around pretty much everywhere. And I had a 1971 Volkswagen Combi bus back then. I had it for about 10 years. And it got terrible gas mileage. I think it got 17 miles to the gallon.
Jeez.
A little
Sounds like an RV.
1600 cc. But I learned to run that bus on alcohol, and I could make my own.
Right.
And then from there, like you said, you mentioned the Mercedes. I learned that those old diesels, would run on almost any kind of oil, and that you could use, recycled. This was oil that had already been used to fry food. You could filter it out and run an old diesel, and it would run better than the newer sort of synthetic diesel fuels that they were running on.
Yeah, I remember you had that shed where you filtered all the oils.
Yeah. And, it was fun and it was cool. And I wasn't making much money back then, And so I found ways to use my time to save money and make a difference in those different little ways. And I was converting other cars and buying them and converting them and reselling them.
Well, let's talk about that mindset for a little while. I don't do these real long. We've gone for about 12 minutes. And I go for like 20 as far as consuming people's time, because that's a commodity we've all got kind of in
I
common.
thought maybe we had a half hour, but yeah, okay.
We might. We
4 or 5 hot minutes here.
We could keep going. I'm just saying. But you meditate a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important. I don't want to get all woo-woo on everybody, but our brains work with the left and the right hemisphere. So you're kind of limited in that good and evil, that digital back and forth mentality, until you can get into a neutral space and expand your consciousness into another idea. And it takes a meditative neutral state to have that. Otherwise, you're just thinking about your future or your past, your past. You got to go into a whole new concept or idea. And I think that's because like you're trying to save energy. So the way to do it is you try and not buy gas and boycott it. Or don't be so strict. Maybe just do a hybrid and buy less gas, and then convert other people's consciousness into buying less gas and less gas. Pretty soon the price of gas is going to go down, because it has to, because people ain't buying it. So coming up with a new idea like that, I mean, do you agree that meditation helps you come up with a bizarre new concept or something that gets you out of the norm and the new paradigm?
Well, Bradley, asking a question like that with only 4 minutes left to talk is a
I said challenge. We can go.
Let's see if I can give you the simplest answer. There are a lot of reasons why I meditate. It's very rare that I get any sort of stroke of creative genius out of my meditation practice. I have received a couple over time. The biggest thing that meditation gives me most consistently is a way to kind of relieve the stress of being in my mind and all the emotions and things that get generated in a daily basis, like you said, from life challenges and, the duality of, what's going good and what's happening in the world, good and bad, and governments and politics and all that, and be able to take a break and just be present with the present moment, and to actually be more in my heart and less in my brain.
That's my point.
And that does help me tune into more of what's important to me, and to tune into a greater, unified field of consciousness that is what I believe is the infinite eternal source of all creation, the source of it, and maintains it. So instead of just operating from my human instincts of survival and getting ahead and, me, mine, and more, to just be more grateful, to be more present and more in tune with the bigger picture.
That's kind of exactly my point. Because for those that don't know, I worked with Damon, and Damon coached me on some things, and you got me out of my head and into my heart. And it's a sort of a weird way of thinking about stuff. Like, you got to get out of your head. No, you can't think about your head. You got to go direct to your heart, and don't even think about not thinking with your head. Go right into the feeling. And it's really weird for a logical guy like me. I'm always toggling back and forth in my head to get back into the caringness, because people buy from emotion and they justify with logic. So they buy from the feeling of how it's going to be, and so marketers know all these psychological, neurolinguistic, manipulative techniques. So I think it's important for a person to be able to get to a neutral space in their heart of why, like Simon Sinek, begin with why. Everybody's looking for their why. Why are you doing this? Why do you need that kind of car? Because it helps the planet, helps people sustain. Why do you need the pair of Nikes? Is it helping anybody other than yourself? Keep your feet warm?
Well, one thing I realized at a really early age, actually sitting in a jail cell, that's another story.
It's a good place to meditate.
It is an excellent place to meditate. Matter of fact, it was enforced meditation for the first time.
Yeah.
Was that all my best ideas, plans, and schemes in life had ended me up in that jail cell. And pretty much everything, from whether it was buying a pair of Nikes to the clothes I wore to the haircut I had to the car I drove, was all to feel loved and accepted by society, mainly, because those are, that's where our open-eyed day-to-day activities operate. But it was this inner connection to an infinite and eternal source of unconditional love that came to me during that period of time. And it was a major turning point in my life. And to realize that it existed, like I asked in that moment, and there it was. And I was pretty agnostic at that time. And so when, my coaching practice and my business is called the Heart of Success Coaching. And a lot of it gets down to this: what are we actually doing? What's most important to us that helps us feel safe, loved, and accepted and good enough, right? And a lot of it's the inner. It's not the outer. We try to fix the outer and with clothes and jobs and money and the security things on the outside. And those things are all temporary. They're always changing. There's always more. And yet there's a connection within our heart that helps us access unconditional love in the moment, that helps us know we're perfect just the way we are, and to keep remembering that and operating from that place.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really get into the, keeping up with the Joneses and, the haves and the have-nots kind of thing, thinking that those external things are going to make you happy. Like, I was talking with a guy at a networking event last night, and he goes, "So how's your business?" And I go, "You know what? I don't even want to do business anymore. It kind of sounds too much like busyness. And I don't know if I want to be in busyness." So it's really not about that for me anymore, being 64 in June. It's more about just figuring out a way that I can earn income, whether it be through passive investments or having things that are automated using the internet, and then living my life. So it's about the freedom, just getting outside of that concept of trading dollars per hour and working for a salary that's limited and limited amount of hours. Figure out how can you scale it up. Like, you and I first met when I was thinking about moving to Asheville, and you were doing all the Google stuff. And obviously pretty well, because that's how I found you. You were probably the first person
local Google master.
That, and there's a moving company that I found down there to help us move in. I still see him once in a while on the internet. But you were the first person that I connected with outside of my Minneapolis, St. Paul area, because I never lived anywhere else. I lived in the same house for 53 years and got married to Monica, and we moved to a suburb. And then we pulled up stakes and moved to Asheville, North Carolina. Who knows? But that's how that happened, because you were good at Googling, getting stuff out there, and I found you.
Yeah. Well, coming back to your point about passive income, I'm a big fan of passive income. think it's awesome, But what's more important to me is that we each tune into what our gifts are, what our talents are, what our most valuable contribution to the world is, and do more of that. Like for me, coaching, it's an hour, I trade hours for dollars in my coaching, but I love it so much. Like
Mhm.
it's not really work for me. So it's like when we're doing what we love, then it's not work.
Right.
And so whether I'm trading dollars for hours for that coaching, or I've got, investments in cryptocurrency that are earning me money, or, a short-term rental apartment that's earning me money as well, it all comes together because I think I'll coach the rest of my life in one form or another.
Right.
Now, to have the freedom and have enough money coming in that I can pick who those clients are, and I can afford to, mentor some people who may not have a lot of money, and I can charge what I'm worth on the other end, people who do, is great to have that freedom and to balance my life. So I'm not coaching 10 hours a day to pay the bills is a nice balance. But I think it's really important that we also find and make a contribution in the world and not just make it about, the money and lifestyle. I think those two go together. It's important.
Yeah, totally. Because you're coaching, you're helping other people to get outside of that whatever mindset that's holding them back, whatever obstacle or block that's happening.
Yeah.
And the coaching thing is your own deal. You can raise or lower your price anytime you want, and you can schedule whatever hours. I guess my trading dollar for hour thing was the concept of a traditional job where you punch in at 8 o'clock and you have a lunch for 15, 20 minutes because it's the law, whatever the hell that is. And I'm currently driving for Amazon. I took that on so I could have some income coming in while we're moving and buying this new house, and with the event stuff crashing. And I don't like it because I got to punch in, drive, punch out. So I'm doing it just temporarily because I just don't like that concept of being locked in to someone else's parameter of what I'm supposed to be doing. I like to be free.
Yeah. And on the other side, some people do like that. Like they
True.
like the structure. They don't want to have to think about, you know, how to make a living and how to market and how to wear all the hats. And they'd rather trade their freedom for that security and know if they just show up and they do the certain amount of work, they're going to get paid. And there's not a right or wrong to that.
No.
But I get you. I get
But
you. My
those
question to
people,
them is it's important that they do what they love. Like if you're
yes.
going to get a job, do it something that you really love and is the highest use of your skills. Don't settle.
And they need to understand that you've got to live within your means. You can't just start going on vacations and buying boats and snowmobiles and all the fun stuff if you can't afford it with whatever income that you've locked into.
Yeah,
And that's
agreed.
kind of my point, because some people can get themselves in trouble.
Yes,
And
most of us do. I've done that once or twice.
oh, we got a comment here that might have happened a while ago. I'm sorry. Oh, it's my
Who's
friend
got?
Mike Wilkie. There he is, Mike Wilkie. Good morning, Mike. Sorry I didn't see you there in the corner.
Morning, Mike.
Mike is a magician friend of mine, and he also does cartoons. So he does cartoons for some of the magic magazines where he does these little punny kind of cartoons and stuff. I had him do one of a ventriloquist at a mime convention.
That's funny.
Get the kind of weirdness.
I do. Yeah. How do you throw your voice in silence, right?
So there's an interesting thing. He's doing what he likes to do, and he's doing cartoons. And that's how he earns a living, and some other stuff he's probably got going on. But it's interesting when a person knows how to do what they enjoy, and instead of the people that like the idiots like me that I decide to do this Amazon gig and I hate it, so I'm going to be quitting.
Well, I don't think that was an idiotic move. I think you made a good move to bring in the extra income you needed to meet the income requirements to buy a house. And buying a house
Exactly why I did it. That was
fantastic investment. That's a smart move.
okay.
Nothing idiotic about that.
Thank you. Give
In
myself
my
a round of
book.
applause. Yeah, see, that's kind of what my point on the perception.
Plus,
of
you need a
things.
way to get out of the house, Brad. I know you.
Yeah, I got
You need to get out there.
I do. I just got to be out. I get to drive over to Hudson, Wisconsin today. There's a Twin Cities wedding and event professionals. They're doing it on the boat, but they're not leaving the dock. They're going to keep it on I can do it on the boat, but I don't get why. Well, I understand because it's expensive to unleash that boat and hire a captain and a staff and insurance and gas. So to keep it tethered up.
There you go.
So, well, what else you want to talk about? We're at 25 minutes here. You got a counter on your end? Can you see the counter?
I don't have a counter. I
got
mean,
it
I have
right
my
here.
clock on my computer, but
Oh.
yeah, I do. Yeah, I see the live 25, 20, 30.
Yeah, cool.
29,
The
30.
StreamYard, I really like the StreamYard for doing this. It seems to flow. It was pretty easy for you to log on. You got the little green room vibe. It's also got this other cool stuff where I can do graphics because I did a thing with my friend Bo on birthday marketing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Birthdays.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with StreamYard. I remember I was trying to do some sort of interview, two-person conversation live on Facebook, and was trying to find technology about a year ago and wasn't able to really find a good platform.
Well, the guys
This
that
is
developed
awesome.
this, their mission is to keep it simple, and they've done exactly that, and I really appreciate that. So let's
Simple
do
too.
this. Let me put what's your website?
Yeah, www.theheartofsuccess.com.
HEART of SUCCESS.com. So it's got this little feature on here too. We can direct people to theheartofsuccess.com. Is that it?
That's it.
Perfect. Yay. In case someone wants to connect with Damon. For those who don't know, he's a wonderful coach. He really gets to the point. And it was cool the way we did that because we could just go to, what was that grocery store we hung out? The Good Earth or
the Green Life or Earth Fair?
Earth Fair, I think it was.
Earth Fair.
Yeah, we just hung out there in the sunshine.
That's right. When
relaxed,
we first met, we went to the cafe there and had some coffee, I think.
Yep. I really missed that vibe, the Asheville vibe. It was kind of cool because you could see a lawyer in a suit and tie walking down the street with some guy that's got dreads and Birkenstocks.
Oh, you could see a lawyer with some dreads and a
sure,
going down the street.
A hybrid, sophisticated hippie. It's cool. They still got that that tour bus that goes around.
Well, they've got a few. You talking about Lazoom, the comedy bus, or
yeah?
They've got those, and then they've got a dozen. I think they're Chamber of Commerce, trolley buses that go around doing more traditional tours.
I saw that
well.
nun on a high bike riding around with a squirt gun, squirting people and stuff. That was fun.
Lazoom is hilarious. Yeah, they migrated up here from New Orleans back after the hurricanes, and Jim Lazon and his wife. It's one of the funniest skits they put on, and they do a great job with it. It's hilarious.
I saw that nun. There's a nun and drag kind of dude, nun with a beard. And he rounded them all up. They're going to have a lunch break. And the guys go, okay, we're going to meet the nun and we're going to get some autographs. And so they get them all rounded up there. They park, everybody gets off, and the nun jumps on his bike and takes off.
Yeah. No, it's a hilarious skit.
It's so weird. All the fun stuff. I saw that. Remember, I got in trouble on the internet over there because I saw the one of those trolleys couldn't get up the hill. The brakes failed and it crashed into a building.
No, didn't see that. You're always getting in trouble. Didn't you just get?
I just took a picture of it. I didn't do it. Yeah, I get that too. But I just took a picture of it. But what people thought, there's some people there in Asheville thought I was scamming by posting a picture of it was back 4 or 6 years earlier. That same thing happened. But I was there in real time. But when I posted it, people thought I was posting an old thing as clickbait.
Right.
But it happened twice. So it really did happen.
Gotcha. Wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. Oh, how's the workout going? I know that you and I are both martial artists and you're still at the Taekwondo Center up there.
Yeah, we've slowly but surely started getting back to face-to-face practice, and it's going good. Excuse me. I still have some sort of throat thing's been going on for a couple of weeks.
Get rid of it.
Mild laryngitis. But we've got masks and no actual contacts. We're staying 3 mats away from each other in every direction, and no key-opping, which is weird.
Oh, really? You got to keep your mouth shut?
Yeah. And but getting a good workout. The mask kind of had a level of stamina,
sure,
restricting your breath, and going in 2-3 times a week and doing my own practice, gearing up for my testing for third degree done in this summer, shooting for August 14th. You'll have to come see me test.
That's a possibility. Martial arts saved my life. I've been in it since 1975 when I graduated high school. And I had a situation where I was crossing the street. I was running across the street in the winter and I couldn't stop. And there's a big white Cadillac that I didn't see. And I was at that place where should I try and run or should I try and stop? If I stop, I'll slip. I'm not going to make it if I run. What am I going to do? So I jumped up as high as I could. I just drove my knee up as high as I could and it hit the edge of my foot as opposed to my hip. And I still went flying and lost my shoes and all that stuff, but it didn't break anything. I just landed and had a sore leg for a couple weeks.
Reflexes kicked in. That's
exactly.
Awesome.
I said, what am I going to do? And it was really weird because it was a slow motion kind of thing. I was like, oh no. I jump up and I'm up in the air trying to grab for something and boom, I hit the ground. And it was funny because the lady, her cigarette had broke. And it was dangling. She goes, "You okay? You okay?" It was kind of funny. She was scared, and I was like, "What the hell just happened?"
Well, I've been blessed that I haven't had to put my martial arts skills to the test to date yet. So I'm very glad for that.
But I'll bet it's helped in other ways. I mean, it's just reactions of things.
Well, certainly kept me in shape, so I appreciate that. I think the biggest benefit to me is that, my daughter started with me. She was 6 when we started. She's going on 16. And it's been, that shared interest and practice that has continued to keep our bond strong even now that she's a teenager. And so
which is good.
And I've seen how it's affected her and her personality because she was very, very shy, introverted, didn't even realize the extent of it when she was younger. Like social anxiety. And it's just helped her to be so much stronger and stretch in her social skills and be able to be in a huge crowd and speak eloquently and perform, and I think it's contributed to now her current passion in like dance and theater. It's given her that strength to be able to get up there and do those things, and that's awesome.
Totally. We had a kid that was just a freckled, redhead, overweight, pudgy little kid, and he ended up being a grand champion.
Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome to see those transformations like that.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, what else we got?
Well, Bradley, I'm good. I have another appointment coming up here at quarter till.
Okay.
And I actually probably need to rest my voice, so maybe we can save our next conversation till next week.
That sounds good. So if anybody's interested in connecting with Damon, it's the heart of success. Very good.
Frank is saying hi and enjoyed some of what we were talking about. Hey, Frank.
Oh, Frank Togas. He's another magician friend of mine. So I got all these magicians popping in.
Yeah, magician circle. Awesome.
Very good. Okay, Damon, I appreciate taking the time. I'm going to put you in the green room. If you want to stay on, you can. Other than that, I got some digital hors d'oeuvres back there if you want to help yourself with some those little sliced franks. I don't know if you eat meat or not. Some M&Ms.
No, not often.
Okay. Thanks again.
Unless there's salmon or caviar. You too, Magic Brad. It's good to see you, buddy.
Well, that was my brother from another mother, Damon Dickenson. And appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to sign this one off. If you want to see the replay of it, it's available on YouTube. And we'll be back. I've got another show on Thursday with my friend Bo Young. And then Damon and I are going to be doing these talks more generically about spirituality and wellness and a little bit of magic and marketing and just more of an open topic. And we do that on Wednesdays. Wednesday Friends Day, that's what we're planning on doing. I got some other things in store that are coming up too. My event expo is not coming up until March, but it is coming. And I'm going to an event this morning at 11 o'clock over in Hudson, Wisconsin. It's a Twin Cities wedding and event professionals event and networking with them. So peace, love, and happiness. This is Magic Brad signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be well, be good, be safe. Thank you. Bye. See you later. Which way should I go?